Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we work to advance inclusion here at Amazon. As one of the largest global employers, we understand that our success depends on the strength and diversity of our workforce. So today we'll be walking you through our diversity handbook, where we identify key barriers, highlight current practices, and introduce strategic recommendations designed to create a more equitable and innovative Amazon for all employees. Amazon began in 1994 as a small online bookstore, and it's grown into one of the world's largest and most influential companies. Today, we operate across multiple industries, including e commerce, cloud computing, logistics, entertainment, and artificial intelligence. We serve millions of customers globally and employ more than 1.5 million employees across corporate, technical, and operations roles. Our scale and reach allow us to innovate at a global level, but they also come with significant responsibility. So, as a company that influences everyday life for customers, partners, and communities, we need to ensure that our internal practices reflect the values we want to see in the world. Building a diverse workforce and fostering an inclusive culture is not only the right thing to do, but it also directly supports our growth, competitiveness, and ability to meet customer needs worldwide. A little bit about Amazon's business strategy. So, Amazon's business strategy is built around five core pillars: customer obsession, innovation, operational excellence, long term thinking, and building an inclusive workforce. Everything we do begins with understanding and improving customer experience. This includes fast and reliable delivery, personalized recommendations, and the stability of Amazon Web Services, which supports millions of customers and organizations around the world. So, innovation is the engine that keeps Amazon competitive. So, we invest heavily in AI, robotics, automation, and advanced logistics to continuously improve our services and create solutions that can scale globally. Our operational excellence allows us to run one of the most sophisticated supply chain networks in the world, giving us the speed, precision, and efficiency that a lot of customers expect. Long term thinking also guides our decisions. We invest in employee education, programs like career choice, renewable energy, accessibility initiatives, and leadership development because sustainable growth starts with a strong, supported workforce. And finally, inclusion is a strategic pillar of our business. A diverse workforce strengthens innovation, improves problem solving, and helps us better understand the customers and communities we serve. This is why diversity, equity, and inclusion is directly connected to our business goals here at Amazon and embedded in the way we hire, develop, and support employees across the company.
Amazon's diversity strategy. Amazon created a culture of inclusion and diversity, supported by its 16 leadership principles. They enable employees to seek diverse perspectives, learn, be curious, and earn trust. Amazon recruits talent from underrepresented backgrounds and supports employee-led groups that offer connection and support. The company forms partnerships with vendors who share the same diverse culture and values. Amazon's impact on communities. As a global company, we recognize we have a responsibility to the people around us. We invest heavily to create a more equitable society for the future. Amazon has spent $1.2 billion to provide free education and skills training to 300,000 US employees. They also invested over $2 billion to create and preserve more than 20,000 homes for low-income individuals. Amazon believes in supporting employee-led groups is essential to be a strong competitive company. Their groups include women, mental health, LGBTQ, Hispanic, Black, Asian, and people with disabilities. Each group promotes representation of employees from historically marginalized backgrounds. They lead events for Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, Black History Month, Pride Month, and Hispanic Heritage Month. I'll now pass it on to Yuri.
Oh, you're on mute.
Hello, everyone. I'll be walking you through the overall goal of our diversity handbook and the culture and demographic background that helps us guide our recommendations. These two sections establish the foundation for why our diversity strategy is necessary, who is designated for, and which groups at Amazon currently face the most structural barriers. With the context in mind, I'll start by walking you through the main mission of the handbook and the key focus groups we selected. Today, we want to walk you through the goal of Diversity Handbook and the purpose behind its creation. Our main mission is to strengthen Amazon's commitment to an equitable and inclusive workplace, one where every employee, especially those who have historically been excluded or underrepresented, have equal access to opportunities and development, a long-time career mobility. As we develop this handbook, we focus on expanding representation at all levels and removing the systematic barriers that can limit growth or participation. Our goal is to help shape our workplace where every employee feels respected, supported, and valued. We also designed this handbook to align with Amazon's broader business strategy. A diverse workforce is competitive advantage. It improves solving strengthened customer and understanding enhances global resilience. By fostering diverse perspectives, Amazon continues to hire and develop top talented and build long-term trusted with employees, customers, and communities it serves. When we consider who this handbook is for, we recognize that its audience includes both decision makers and the individuals responsible for putting these ideas into action. This includes leadership and executive teams who guide company priorities and allocate resources, our HR and DI department who develops program and policies, managers and frontline supervisors who shape daily work experience and recruited and talent acquisition teams who influence representation through hiring practices. It also includes learning and development teams who support career growth and ultimately all Amazon employees because sustaining an inclusive culture requires the participation and accountability at every level of the organization. For this handbook, we chose to focus to two key groups, women in leadership and technical roles and employees with disabilities, whether physical development or invisible. We selected these groups because they continue to face systematic barriers across both technical and logistic environments. They remain unrepresented in critical roles and need tailored support to ensure equitable access to growth and advancement. By catering our efforts on these two groups, we're aligning with Amazon's current DEI priorities and contributing to long-term workforce development, organization success, and Amazon broader social responsibility goal. Next slide, please. Now, I'd like to go over our culture and demographic background at Amazon, which explains why our diversity focus areas are so important. Amazon is one of the largest employers in the world, and because of the scale of labor forces reflects a wide range of cultures, identities, and lived experience with over 1 million employees spread across corporate offices, fulfillment centers, logistic hubs, and customer service teams. Our environment is shaped by fast-paced operation, data-driven decision-making, and our leadership principles. These principles encourage diverse perspectives and earning trust. However, the actual experience of inclusion still varies significantly across groups. One of the most visible patterns in gender representation. Looking at Amazon's global workforce overall from 2020 to 2024, we see that men consistently represent 56 to 57% of employees, while women represent 43 to 44%. In the US, women makes slightly more, around 46 to 47%, but still does not translate into corporate comparable leadership representation. When we narrow the lens to corporate employees, the gap becomes even more pronounced. Globally, women represent only 31 to 34% of corporate workers from 2020 to 2024. In the US, the numbers are nearly identical, with women hovering between 31 and 33%. Meanwhile, men consistently make up to 66 to 68% of corporate employees. This shows us that while women are present across Amazon, they remain significantly underrepresented in corporate and leadership pathways. This data directly supports why women in leadership is one of our primary focus in our groups and diversity handbook. Also, employees with disabilities experience some of the most challenging barriers. Amazon employees thousands of individuals with physical, sensory, and cognitive and invisible disabilities across both warehouse and corporate settings. Many rely on accommodations such as modified equipment, flexible schedules, screen readers, and communication aids. But in practice, these supports are not always delivered consistently. In 2025, reports highlighted the leaps and denials in accommodations requests for corporate employees and warehouse employees reported that strict productivity metrics and automated time tracking system created additional obstacles. Adding complexity, Amazon's workforce includes many employees who speak English as a second language. This requires translated safety materials, multilingual training, and accessibility support, especially for employees with cognitive or communication-related disabilities. When language barriers and disability overlaps, the challenges compound. Altogether, this demographics and cultural landscape shows why our chosen focus groups, women in leadership and employees with disabilities, are essential and priorities. Women remain underrepresented at leadership levels despite being half of the broader workforce, and employees with disabilities continue to face inconsistencies with support and accommodation. Improving inclusion for these groups is not only equity issue, is directly straining. Amazon leadership pipeline enhances accessibility, reduces turnover, and supports the company's long-term success and reputation as a social responsible employer. And I'll pass it on for Christina.
In our analysis, as Yuri mentioned, we identified several barriers that limit full inclusion for two key groups. The first is women in leadership, and the second is employees with disabilities. For women, the challenges appear at every job level. At entry-level roles, women often face occupational segregation and limited early exposure to leadership tracks, especially in the technical roles. At the mid-level, structural barriers such as fewer sponsorship opportunities, unequal access to high visibility projects, and challenges balancing caregiving responsibilities can really slow advancement. At the senior level, women remain underrepresented across the company, which does affect psychological safety, visibility, and decision-making influence. Employees with disabilities experience a different set of barriers. In warehouse and frontline roles, strict productivity expectations, physical job demands, and inconsistent accommodation processes can create unequal working conditions. In corporate environments, issues such as inaccessible software, delayed accommodations, and bias are or around invisible disabilities remain significant obstacles. These barriers extend into leadership, where employees with disabilities are underrepresented due to the limited sponsorship, the stigma, and uneven accessibility practices. Understanding these barriers helps us design meaningful solutions that support equity, performance, and long-term success for all employees at Amazon. I'm going to hand it back over to Javier.
So, what are our current practices for inclusion? Amazon strives to advance gender equity at all levels. We recognize the accomplishments of women and give them a voice to improve and guide changes. The hashtag #SheIsAmazon campaign spotlights women breaking biases and barriers. We provide free programs for mothers and women to build real skills for new careers. Amazon wants everyone to feel seen through LGBTQ support. Glamazon consists of 100 chapters around the world that educate and support employees about LGBTQ. Amazon offers workplace protections and benefits. We have earned a perfect score on the Human Rights Campaign Corporate Equality Index for 5 years. Inclusion for people of color. Amazon breaks down barriers that people of color face head on. Programs like Amazon Future Engineer expand access to STEM, backed by over $750,000 in support. They work with Black-owned businesses and offer scholarships to historically Black colleges. For Hispanic Latino communities, they recognize artists, storytellers, musicians, and tech leaders. Amazon also raises Asian and Pacific Islander visibility through partnerships with Amazon Music, Prime Video, Amazon Books, and Alexa. When it comes to disability inclusion, we have over 1 billion people with disabilities at Amazon and focus on accessibility. We have installed sign language video stations across the globe to support deaf employees. We ensure their voices are heard and opinions are brought forward in technology designs. Amazon has been named the best place to work for disability inclusion for 5 years in a row as well. Now Yuri will take over.
Thank you, Javier. Now I'll continue by presenting our 2 main strategy recommendations designed to strengthen inclusion. For our first diversity strategy recommendation, we are proposing the leadership apprenticeship pathway for women, which is designed to directly address the systematic barriers that women continue to face in accessing leadership roles at Amazon, especially in technical and decision-making positions. This pathway will provide women with specialized leadership training, including advanced decision-making, strategic execution, and people management skills. One of the biggest benefits of this program is that it connects learning with real-world application. Instead of relying only on classroom-style training, participants will take part in structured executive shadowing hours, where they observe leaders as they manage daily challenges, negotiation priorities, lead times, and make high-impact operations decisions. This gives women the type of inside exposure to leadership that traditional coursework simply cannot applicate. Another important component in the pathway is merit-based advancement. Every participant will build the professional leadership portfolio that includes feedback from mentors, summarize shadowing experiences, skill development records, and performance data. This ensures that promotion and advancement opportunities remain fair, transparent, and based on the demonstrated capabilities, instead of being limited by bias or lack of access. At the end of the program, women will graduate with a clear structure route into leadership or managerial positions, supported by targeted mentorship and ongoing development resources. This pathway helps break the experience barrier that many women face when trying to move in higher level roles. What makes this initiative especially strong is that it includes measurable outcomes. Amazon will be able to track annual metrics such as the numbers of women completing the pathway, the percentage of participants promoted into leadership roles, how many remain in leadership over time, and overall representation growth. These measurable indicators allow Amazon to assess the effectiveness of the program year by year and ensure the building and sustainable and diverse leadership pipeline. Overall, the leadership apprenticeship pathway is practical, long-term solution that supports women career mobility, aligns with Amazon high-performance culture, and strengthens leadership diversity across the company. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to introduce you to our second major recommendation, which focuses in improving inclusion and accessibility for employees with disability at Amazon. Employees with physical, sensory, cognitive, and invisible disabilities make up an important part of our workforce, but their experiences show that we still have significant gaps in inconsistent support and accommodations. These recommendations address those structured challenges directly. The first part of the proposal is a guaranteed 30-day accommodation response window. Right now, one of the most common issues reported by disabled employees is long delays in consistent communication or even denials when requesting accommodations. By ensuring that every request receives a clear response within 30 days, Amazon will provide predictability, reduce frustration, and create a fair, transparent process for our employees. Next, we recommend expanding adaptive workstations and modified tasks. Many Amazon roles, especially in fulfillment centers, involve repetitive motion, lifting, and productivity targets that can unintentionally disadvantage disabled workers. Offering ergonomically adjustable stations, customized tools, and modified task options allows employees to meet expectations without unnecessary physical strain or risk. This only supports accessibility but also reduces workplace injuries and improves long-term performance. A third key component is introduction of accessibility coaches at every site. These coaches will serve as dedicated liaisons between employees, managers, and HR. The role will be to guide workers through the accommodation process, help identify the right equipment or modifications, and ensure that each employee needs are addressed consistently. Having a local trained expertise on site makes the process more personal and ensures no one gets lost in the system. Finally, our recommendation includes a strong focus, measurable metrics because accountability is essential. We propose tracking data such as injury reduction, accommodation satisfaction scores, and retention rates among employees with disabilities. By reviewing these metrics regularly, Amazon can see where progress is happening and where additional improvements are needed. This ensures that inclusion isn't just a goal, it becomes an ongoing measurable commitment. Now I'll pass it on to Maston.
So now I'm just gonna continue with our diversity strategy to address two critical workforce gap, which is women in leadership role and employees with disabilities. These programs are designed to remove barrier, improve retention, and deliver measurable business results. So as you guys, I mean, almost a lot of people know that a lot of employees of Amazon are worldwide. So employee Amazon has 1.5 people globally. Currently, women only 26.3% of senior leader, and employee with disability report significant delay in receiving accommodation. So this program will address both issues systematically. Next, please. So here's the financial breakdown of what our recommendation price will be. So first we have the leadership apprenticeship pathway, which will cost initially a 2.85 to 4.2 initial investment to 3.5 to 5.8 million annually. So this will provide a structured mentorship, executive shadowing, and clear advancement pathway for women into leadership role. And the second we have is the inclusive operation enhancement. And the cost initial for that was 11.8 to 17.75 million initially to 18.45 to 28.65 annually. So this will implement a 30-day accommodation guarantee on-site accessibility coaches, and adaptive equipment across facilities. And the third one we have is the organizational accountability system, which the initial cost is 3.3 to 5.15 million initially, and annually it will be around 5.8 to 7.9 million. And this will establish tracking dashboard, manager evaluation, and site level inclusion inventory. So the total investment for that will be around 17.95 to 27.1 initial, and 27.3 to 42.1 annually. So this represents less than 0.0% of Amazon uh, 635 billion revenue. Slide, please. Next slide, please. So now let's address the implementation challenges and expected return. Next slide, please. So 4 key challenges on our mitigation strategies. So the first one is organizational resistance, which is a concern about favoritism and conduct productivity impact. Will provide a transparent communication and training. All advancement remain merit-based. We're ensuring that equal access to development opportunities. Data shows that diverse teams make better decision 87% of the time. And next, we have the time investment, which requires executive and manager bandwidth. We're implementing a phase 12 to 18-month rollout to distribute workload and allow for adjustment. And the third one we have is the staff requirement, which we have 9,500 and 14,500 hour weekly. Will leverage internal promotion, automation, and program participant time rather than net new hires. And the last we have is the cost management. High initial investment will control costs through technology automation, internal promotion, and economic of scale. And so the measurable return that we have is 94% of the employee will stay longer when the company invests in career development. 18% will 18 increase in productivity and engage employees. 85 improved 85% improved retention and employee with disabilities. 48% reduction in training costs due to lower turnover and the reduce of legal risk and improve compliance. So this 27 to 42 million annual investment addresses a structural barrier affecting thousands of employees while reducing a turnover cost that currently exceed program expenses. The program align with our leadership principle and include quarterly accountabilities reviews to track effectiveness. Implementation begin with high impact site and scale based to demonstrate result. Now I'm going to pass on to Justin.
And hello, please allow me to speak to you about the benefit analysis of our selected programs. Next slide, please. So for our leadership apprenticeship program, as we know, turnover is expensive. According to data from SHRM, the implementation of this program will lead to roughly a 90 to 200% reduction of turnover replacement costs for trying to replace employees. Additionally, as a conservative assumption based on Medium Gallup research data, we're looking at roughly an 18% gain in productivity and sales, a 14% jump in possible production, and although small, numerous gains in a number of other areas. So according to the Workplace Learning Report, 94% of workers noted that if an employer displayed an interest in investing in their career development, they would stay longer at their current employer. That being said, we can also expect to see these gains in employment retention. The return of investment here is expected to show results within 12 to 24 months. However, realistically, we should see some behavioral change data within the first 2 quarters after our first cohort's graduation. Next slide, please. So for the Inclusive Operations Enhancement Program, numerically speaking, I wanted it to be understood that 61% of accommodations cost $0. That's nothing. Seeing as quite a few accommodations are just moving things around or equipment that most companies already have on hand. Now on to the nitty-gritty. The Jobs Accommodation Network, or JAN, provided data for 2025 of over 5,000 employers, and companies reflected that 85% stated that they had improved employee retention, 48% had reduced or completely eliminated training costs for replacing employees, and 24% of companies saved on workers' comp, injury, and insurance costs. So tracking time to accommodation onto accommodation to satisfaction, as well as retention of accommodated employees, there should be visible trends within 12 to 24 months, despite indicators at earlier benchmarks. Next slide, please. And last but not least is our organizational accountability system. So the OAS's benefits and gains partially piggyback off of previously stated gains in our proposed programs. Namely, there is, again, an expected 90 to 200% reduction in costs associated with turnover replacement. Gallup's meta-analysis associates employee engagement with 64% reduction in safety incidents, and at an estimated cost of $43,000 per medically consulted injury, we're looking at sizable cost reductions here. In less physical terms, we are looking at real gains in reputation, given that transparency greatly boosts perceived fairness. And although indicators from our pulse disclosures will appear within 2 months as to some metrics such as employee engagement and productivity gains, directional trends should show up within 6 months. However, to keep things uniform, concrete return on investment evaluations will be available within 12 to 24 months. Next slide, please. And thank you. That is our presentation.